Atlanta is under a state of emergency after several old and corroded pipes burst on Friday, leaving many in the city without clean water. Repairs have since been completed on one of the breaks, but the other is still ongoing, and a boil water advisory remains in place. Now, rapper Megan Thee Stallion had to cancel her Friday and Saturday Atlanta concerts last minute due to the water crisis, and she blasted the mayor on social media. Let's take a look.
Now, why would y'all let me come all the way up here and y'all was acting like I could perform, and now y'all telling me, oh, well, by the way, also when we was trying to fix the pipes, we found another issue and some more going on. What? What? Because it's really up that people don't have water. And we've been going through the city. I seen them on a floaty. Kellen was coming to show me this video of this man riding a floaty.
Now, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens was in Memphis at a fundraiser for himself when the water crisis began. He didn't make a public appearance until about 24 hours later and then apologized to residents.
And I will be candid that overnight we did not do the best job of communicating. We could have done a better job over the past day, and for that, I apologize in how we have not been able to give you as much up-to-date information as possible.
Now, popular X account Defend the Atlanta Forest wasn't satisfied with the mayor's response and tweeted, quote, "The mayor and city council are sending over $100 million to build Cop City and the areas surrounding it, cannot even pour themselves a glass of water in the middle of a Georgia summer. This is the epitome of a police state."
Sounds like a big screw up on their part. I know people must be tremendously frustrated not having access to clean water. Megan Thee Stallion was clearly frustrated. She didn't get to perform, which is also understandable. I'm sure that was frustrating for the fans there. Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a basic city service that government officials and local officials are supposed to provide. The mayor was at a fundraiser at the time, and I think he realizes the optics of all this were not very good for him, and there's going to be some blowback.
Yeah, it's interesting. This came up a little bit in our interview with Libertarian presidential candidate Chase Oliver earlier today, that there is a huge financial investment that's been made in Cop City at the same time when there are basic municipal needs that aren't being met. And as an extension of that, Mayor Adams has now recently announced the plan to construct a New York version of Cop City just weeks after there was an incredible blowback and a ton of flack that he received for shutting down libraries on the weekend, which would cost a fraction of the proposed cost of this Cop City to keep open. So it really does seem like a mismatch of priorities here. I mean, this is a major American city in the middle of the summer where residents either don't have water or on a boil water advisory. It does feel like this is the Flint cityfication of the United States of America because of the gross mismanagement of public funds, where the police departments seem to have no limits on how much they are funded. As much as there was discussion and debate around defund the police, the overwhelming trend since 2020 has been that police departments have gotten more and more funding. They are not catching more and more criminals. There was a story from last week about how New York has not for years released its case completion rate, won't even tell you how many crimes it's actually solving. And meanwhile, public infrastructure is quite literally falling apart.
Yes, I am very skeptical of just giving money to the police for the sake of it. Obviously, I think that police departments need to be staffed sufficiently to deter, prevent, and then arrest people for committing crimes. But are they doing that, or are they just giving fancier gadgets to police that then incentivize the kind of no-knock raids and SWAT raids and asset forfeiture, all these kinds of things that civil libertarians like our presidential candidate Chase Oliver condemn, and that a newer and fancier training facility. I mean, like, better training for the police could be a good thing. Training in how to interact with civilians, with citizens in a non-threatening way would be that is a good idea to me in theory, but I know there's a lot of specific opposition.
Yeah,
to this
that's in theory, but we've been now engaging with this idea that the police just need to be better trained since at least Rodney King 30 years ago. And the results have not been that you see a decline in these instances of police victimization of the public that they're supposed to protect. And you're also not seeing any downstream benefits in terms of crime rates being correlated with decreased crime rates being correlated with lower police funding. I really thought, frankly, that Chase Oliver made a really compelling case because he also mentioned how anti-democratic this is. That when Atlanta held open hearings for the public to weigh in on what they thought their public funds should be put to, overwhelmingly, it was like an unprecedented number of people who came to give public comment. And I think there were only, if my memory serves from an interview I did about this on my own podcast, like a handful of police and firefighters that came to represent their own interests, maybe not even firefighters, but police officers, but that they represented maybe 1%, if that, of the people who came to express their displeasure about the $1 million+ that are being poured into Cop City, especially also after we've seen how these cops are being used in the context of the free speech anti-war movement, where college kids have been down in Atlanta at Emory, tased on camera by the police force, and we obviously saw how the military-grade equipment was used to oust a couple of dozen Columbia students from a dorm just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's always something to be mindful of. So hopefully the people in Atlanta, so is the water, this is still an ongoing problem at the moment?
It is an ongoing problem. They were able to fix one of the pipes to get some water.
And they found a new issue while they were trying to fix it.
Yeah, these are deep-seated, I think, structural issues. Pipes that were built, you know, in the Revolutionary era are still in effect in so many major American cities. And these kind of problems are a can that keeps getting kicked farther and farther down the road until you happen to be the one in office when ish hits the fan. But it shouldn't come to that. There should be a willingness to invest in public maintenance without there being a disaster. But it does seem like only flashy issues that can get politicized, like crime, get any public attention, and that's the only thing that can justify public spending. The roads you drive on, the bridges you drive across, the water that comes through your tap is simply very rarely a public priority, and we'll see if there's any political accountability.
There's going to be, and there's going to be loss of economic gains for local businesses, restaurants, and everything that had to close during
Atlanta
a busy time
has
over the weekend.
framed itself as a place that wants to attract all of that outside investment, concert venues, filming movies, exactly trying to hold itself out as a place that does have the warm weather and the good infrastructure to support that sort of thing. And now people are concerned you can't even have a Megan Thee Stallion concert because there's no water coming through the facility. I mean, it's really a disaster.
Yeah, the chef at a restaurant in Atlanta says we probably lost $30,000 in sales over the weekend. Another one said they lost their entire, all of their revenue from over the weekend. You know, small businesses are always restaurants are hard. Ever since the COVID, it's been hard to keep these places open, so it is a shame. That does it for us for today. Tomorrow we will be back with another edition of our show. Please tune in.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while you're on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
See you later.
Take care.